Yo, it's Big Ant the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as 50 Cent has decided to jump out there and use his number one tactic as beef to promote his latest product that he executive produced. Once again, as this time around, it's BMF, as it's going to be a part 2 to the documentary side of the collective that they had going on Starz, as they had the TV show that got canceled this last season, but they also had a whole deal as a whole where they were doing the documentary part to kind of like tell the storyline of the TV series and everything that went on with BMF. And he put this up on the gram today with the trailer, and I can't post that trailer right here because it's copyrighted through Starz, so I can't let y'all hear.
The moment the headline hit timelines, fans froze. Not because it confirmed anything, but because of how dangerous it sounded. New documentary turns dangerous. Big Meech brother headed to jail after 50 Cent's reaction. Read that again. Headed reaction. Dangerous. This isn't a court document. It's not a police statement. It's a wave of reports, whispers, and explosive commentary that suddenly has the internet arguing in all directions at once. And that's where the drama really begins.
Because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me.
According to circulating reports, a newly announced documentary was supposed to be about legacy, history, and survival. But within hours, blogs began claiming the project opened old wounds instead of healing them. Screenshots, clipped reactions, and half-heard statements started flying. Fans are shocked, confused, and glued to their screens as commentators insist the documentary crossed a line. Not legally at least, not on paper, but emotionally, personally, and publicly.
Ordered in 2021 as a companion project to complement the Starz scripted crime drama BMF, which recently concluded its 4-season run on Starz. The show was canceled in October, leaving fans with a cliffhanger when Big Meech, Demetrius Flannery Jr., was arrested by Detective Von Bryant Steve Harris. There has been plenty of speculation regarding why BMF was canceled, with the spotlight on franchise executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's beef with Big Meech. Sources at the time of the cancellation told Deadline that Jackson and Big Meech's frayed relationship was not the reason BMF ended. Jackson addressed the rumors during the recent chat with Deadline while promoting his ratings juggernaut Netflix docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning. BMF was already slightly declining in ratings before the last season started, and they made some creative choices that were, from my perspective, not good choices. Jackson told me in late November, "I know people feel like I turned it off, but the networks would have continued to move forward with the show if it was doing the numbers it had been doing." So it's one thing me saying that the show...
For then came the reaction everyone waited for. Reports claim 50 Cent didn't stay silent. He didn't issue a clean press release either. Instead, his alleged response, whether intentional or not, sparked a new narrative, one that blogs are now running with aggressively. The phrase "headed to jail" began trending, not as a confirmed outcome, but as a possibility being loudly debated. Emotions ran high as commentators questioned whether words, reactions, and exposure can push someone closer to real consequences even when nothing official has. Happen.interview.7.39/7.55 family names were dragged into the conversation. Old loyalties were questioned. Fans began picking sides without knowing the full story. Some claimed the documentary was reckless. Others argued it was overdue, and somewhere in the middle of all this noise, reports suggest a brotherhood was put under pressure in a way no one expected. What makes this moment so intense isn't what's proven, it's what's being said. The speculation, the reactions, the idea that one documentary, combined with one powerful reaction, could change everything. The family was left divided in public opinion. The fans were left guessing. And the internet did what it does best, turn possibility into chaos. And if this is only the beginning, the question isn't what's true. The question is, how far will this story go next? New documentary turns dangerous. Big Meech brother headed tough story did not explode all at once. It crept out slowly, piece by piece, like something people were not supposed to notice until it was already everywhere. Reports started circulating that a new documentary connected to the BMF legacy had shifted tone at the last minute. What was once described as reflective and historical was now being whispered about as confrontational and risky. Fans are shocked, not because anyone confirmed wrongdoing, but because of how quickly the narrative turned from celebration to concern. Emotions ran high across comment sections as viewers questioned why this project suddenly felt heavier than expected. According to multiple entertainment blogs, the documentary allegedly included personal perspectives that some insiders felt should have stayed private. Names, relationships, and old tensions were said to be discussed in ways that made people uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable in a cinematic way, but in a real-life way, where the past does not stay buried. Commentators claimed that this was not just about telling a story anymore, but about reopening wounds that never fully healed. As these claims spread, fans began debating whether the documentary crossed an unspoken line. What made the situation more intense was the reported reaction from 50 Cent. No official statement confirmed anything, but social media posts, captions, and indirect comments were quickly dissected. Fans read between every line. Screenshots were shared with dramatic interpretations attached. Some reports claimed his reaction was calm but sharp, while others insisted it carried a warning tone, whether intentional or not. The reaction was treated like fuel poured directly onto a fire that was already burning. People close to the situation, at least according to commentary channels, suggested that the focus was no longer the documentary itself, but the ripple effect it created. Suddenly, attention shifted toward Big Meech's brother, not because of new charges or confirmed legal action, but because of the way bloggers framed the consequences. Phrases like "headed to jail" began appearing in thumbnails and headlines, carefully wrapped in speculation. Fans are shocked at how fast that wording took over the conversation. Despite no official confirmation backing it up, family dynamics became a major talking point. Reports claimed that relatives were unhappy with how certain stories were framed. Some felt the documentary leaned too hard into controversy, while others believed it was simply honest. The family was left divided in public opinion, even if no one involved made a clear public appearance to confirm those tensions. Viewers projected their own interpretations onto silence, treating every absence as proof of conflict. Inside the fan community, emotions ran high. Some defended the documentary, arguing that truth should never be censored, no matter how uncomfortable. Others felt that timing mattered, especially when legal histories and public scrutiny are involved. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds, where longtime supporters argued with newer audiences drawn in by the drama. The story stopped being about facts and became about loyalty, perception, and power. One particularly viral clip featured a commentator claiming that certain scenes in the documentary could invite unwanted attention. Not legal attention in a direct sense, but renewed interest from people who had moved on. Fans are shocked by how easily speculation transformed into fear-driven narratives. The idea that storytelling alone could put someone at risk was enough to keep viewers watching and debating late into the night. Behind the scenes, according to unnamed sources quoted by entertainment pages, there was alleged frustration about how reactions were spiraling. What was meant to spark discussion had instead ignited anxiety. People began questioning whether silence was strategic or if statements were being held back to avoid escalating things further. Every hour without clarification made the rumors louder. The mention of 50 Cent added another layer to the drama. His history with public feuds made fans quick to assume intention behind every move. Even neutral reactions were framed as calculated. Some commentators claimed his response was a reminder of how exposed narratives can become when powerful voices weigh in. Others argued that he was simply reacting as anyone would when a familiar story is retold without their input. As the days passed, the phrase "new documentary turns dangerous" became more than a headline. It became a summary of the mood. Not dangerous in a confirmed, legal sense, but dangerous in how it shifted perception. The idea that one project could alter how people view an entire family legacy unsettled many viewers. Fans are shocked that storytelling itself became the center of fear rather than inspiration. Dialogue attributed to insiders painted a picture of tension-filled conversations. One source was quoted saying, "This was never supposed to go this far." Another claimed, once the reaction hit, everything changed. Whether these statements were accurate or exaggerated did not matter to the audience. What mattered was the feeling that something had slipped out of control. Supporters of Big Meech's brother pushed back hard against the narrative. They argued that speculation about jail time was irresponsible and damaging. They reminded audiences that commentary is not confirmation. Still, the headlines kept coming, each one louder than the last. Fans are shocked by how quickly caution was replaced by sensationalism. At the center of it all stood the documentary. Now almost forgotten as an actual piece of content, it became a symbol instead, a symbol of how easily stories can transform when reactions overshadow intentions. Emotions ran high as viewers questioned who benefits when narratives turn this dark. Is it about truth or about attention? By the end of this phase of the story, nothing concrete had changed in reality, but everything had changed in perception. The family was left divided in the court of public opinion. Reactions were magnified beyond their original meaning, and fans were left wondering whether the danger was ever real, or if it was created by the noise surrounding it. As the conversation grew louder, The tone around the situation shifted from curiosity to suspicion. Entertainment pages began framing the story as a chain reaction, suggesting that once the documentary narrative escaped its original purpose, control was lost. Fans are shocked at how quickly commentators stopped asking what the film intended to say and started asking who it might hurt. Emotions ran high because the implications felt personal, not just for those involved, but for the audience that had followed the BMF story for years. Reports claimed that certain scenes in the documentary revisited moments that many believed were already settled by time. Old alliances, broken trust, and unresolved disputes were allegedly presented without softening the edges. Some viewers praised the rawness, while others felt it lacked responsibility. The idea that history was being retold through a modern lens made people uneasy, especially when that lens was shaped by opinion rather than verified fact. The spotlight remained fixed on Big Meech's brother, largely because of how online narratives positioned him. No official source suggested legal trouble, yet speculation kept growing. Commentators debated whether renewed attention alone could invite unwanted scrutiny. Fans are shocked that the discussion moved from storytelling to consequences so fast. Phrases like "this could bring problems" and "this invites attention" echoed across live streams and reaction videos. Social media played its role aggressively. Short clips were taken out of context and shared with dramatic captions. A single line from the documentary, according to reports, was repeated so often that it became a talking point on its own. People argued over its meaning, with some claiming it hinted at unresolved issues and others insisting it was harmless reflection. Emotions ran high as interpretation replaced evidence. The alleged reaction from 50 Cent continued to loom over the narrative. Every post he made afterward was examined for hidden meaning. Fans treated emojis, timing, and even silence as intentional moves. Some claimed he was warning others to tread carefully. Others argued he was simply allowing the internet to do what it always does. Regardless of intent, his presence amplified everything. Fans are shocked by how one reaction can reshape an entire story. Family reactions, or the lack of them, added another layer. No clear public response emerged to calm the speculation. That silence became its own headline. Commentators suggested that internal disagreements might exist over how the documentary portrayed certain events. The family was left divided in public imagination. Even though no one confirmed any rift, viewers filled the gaps with theories, turning uncertainty into assumed conflict. Dialogue attributed to insiders painted scenes of tense discussions behind closed doors. One alleged source claimed that some family members felt blindsided by how the project was marketed. Another suggested that the reaction online was far more intense than anyone anticipated. Whether these claims were grounded or exaggerated, they fueled the sense that things had spiraled beyond control. Fans themselves became characters in the drama. Longtime supporters felt protective, arguing that speculation about jail time was reckless. Newer viewers, drawn in by bold headlines, leaned into the drama without context. Emotions ran high as debates turned personal. Comment sections filled with accusations of clout chasing, denial, and betrayal. The story became less about facts and more about who you believed. Content creators added fuel by framing the situation as a warning about exposure. They argued that revisiting the past can have consequences when powerful names are involved. Fans are shocked by how often the word dangerous was repeated, even though no danger was clearly defined. The fear was abstract, built on possibility rather than proof, yet it felt real enough to dominate the conversation. The documentary itself was now described as a trigger rather than a project. Commentators claimed it reopened doors that were intentionally closed. Some argued that certain stories should remain untold for the sake of peace. Others pushed back, insisting that silence protects no one. Emotions ran high because both sides felt morally justified. Amid the noise, a few voices urged caution. They reminded audiences that commentary does not equal confirmation. They stressed that words like "headed to jail" were speculative and misleading. Still, those calmer takes struggled to compete with dramatic thumbnails and bold claims. Fans are shocked by how easily moderation gets buried under sensationalism. The narrative around Big Meech's brother continued to evolve without new information. He became a symbol of potential fallout rather than a person. This shift disturbed some viewers, who questioned the ethics of turning speculation into entertainment. The family was left divided in how audiences perceived their silence, either as guilt or as restraint. As days passed, the story refused to cool down. Instead, it deepened, layering reaction upon reaction. 50 Cent's name remained central, not because of confirmed actions, but because of perceived influence. Commentators suggested that when someone with his reach responds, even indirectly, the consequences feel heavier. Fans are shocked by how influence alone can create pressure. By this point, the original purpose of the documentary felt distant. What remained was a cycle of interpretation, reaction, and escalation. Emotions ran high as viewers wondered whether anyone could step in to redirect the narrative. The story had taken on a life of its own, fueled by silence, speculation, and the internet's appetite for drama. leaving the audience watching closely as the tension continued to build. As the tension refused to fade, the narrative entered a more intense phase where speculation started sounding like certainty to some viewers. Entertainment commentators began connecting dots that were never officially drawn. Fans are shocked at how confidently some voices spoke about outcomes that had not happened. Emotions ran high as phrases like "consequences are coming" and "this will not end" quietly circulated without any grounding beyond opinion. The discussion around Big Meech's brother shifted again, this time focusing on how public perception alone can reshape reality. Commentators argued that being tied to a revived narrative can be just as damaging as new developments. Some claimed that attention invites scrutiny, while others insisted that scrutiny was already there and simply waiting for a spark. Fans are shocked that the line between possibility and prediction became so thin. Online debates grew more aggressive. Supporters accused critics of exploiting a family name for views. Critics fired back, saying the family opened the door by allowing the documentary to explore sensitive ground. Emotions ran high as accusations of betrayal and loyalty flew back and forth. The family was left divided in the eyes of the public. Even though no direct confrontation was visible, 50 Cent's shadow remained present in every discussion. Commentators replayed old interviews and past feuds to frame his alleged reaction as part of a larger pattern. Some suggested that his history made people assume strategy where there might be none. Others argued that influence carries responsibility, whether intentional or not. Fans are shocked by how past narratives were pulled into the present to justify current fears. Dialogues attributed to unnamed insiders painted a picture of mounting frustration. One claimed that the documentary team underestimated how volatile the reaction would be. Another suggested that once the reaction from influential figures entered the conversation, the story was impossible to control. Emotions ran high because these claims suggested regret, even though no official apology or clarification existed. Meanwhile, reaction videos multiplied. Creators leaned into dramatic storytelling, using emotional language to keep audiences hooked. Phrases like "the calm before the storm" and "this is bigger than it looks" were repeated across platforms. Fans are shocked by how repetition alone made these ideas feel credible. The story became self-sustaining, feeding on its own momentum. Some viewers began questioning the ethics of turning speculation into entertainment. They asked whether it was fair to frame someone as headed toward jail without evidence. Others dismissed these concerns, arguing that commentary has always thrived on prediction. Emotions ran high as the community split between those calling for restraint and those demanding more revelations. The documentary was now rarely discussed for its content. Instead, it was treated like a catalyst. Commentators claimed it reopened conversations that powerful people would rather avoid. Fans are shocked by how a creative project became a symbol of disruption rather than reflection. The fear was not tied to a specific scene, but to the idea that visibility itself was dangerous. Family silence continued to be interpreted in conflicting ways. Some believed it showed confidence and refusal to engage with rumors. Others saw it as confirmation that internal disagreements existed. The family was left divided in public interpretation, with silence acting as a mirror for whatever viewers already believe. Emotions ran high when one viral segment claimed that pressure behind the scenes was building. The host suggested that stress alone can lead to mistakes, even when no wrongdoing exists. Fans are shocked by how hypothetical scenarios were framed as warnings. The narrative leaned heavily on what could happen rather than what had happened. Amid the chaos, a few analysts attempted to slow the conversation down. They reminded audiences that documentaries often present subjective perspectives. They emphasized that reactions, no matter how loud, do not equal legal outcomes. These voices struggled to gain traction. Drama consistently outperformed caution in engagement. The mention of jail continued to haunt the narrative, not because of facts, but because of repetition. Every time it appeared in a headline, it reinforced fear. Fans are shocked by how language alone shaped perception. The power of suggestion became the most influential force in the story. Some creators framed the situation as a lesson about legacy. They argued that when history is revisited publicly, it can redefine how people are seen. Others pushed back, saying that avoiding the past only strengthens myths. Emotions ran high as these philosophical debates clashed with sensational framing. By this stage, the audience felt caught in a loop. No new information emerged, yet the intensity kept rising. 50 Cent's influence, whether real or imagined, remains central to speculation. Fans are shocked by how influence can be felt. The story reached a point where anticipation replaced information. Viewers waited for a statement, a denial, or anything to anchor the conversation. Until then, speculation ruled. The family was left divided in the narrative constructed around them, and the documentary's shadow continued to loom large, as the tension held steady without resolution. As the noise reached its peak, fatigue quietly set in among viewers who had been following every twist. The story had stretched far beyond its starting point, and many began to realize how little concrete information had actually surfaced. Fans are shocked when they look back and notice that most of what fueled the drama came from reactions to reactions. Emotions ran high not because of new developments, but because the narrative felt trapped in a cycle that refused to resolve itself. Commentators started reframing the situation as a cautionary tale about modern storytelling. They argued that when documentaries intersect with powerful personalities, the aftermath can overshadow the message. Some suggested that the danger was never about jail or legal fallout, but about perception becoming reality. Fans are shocked by how quickly an idea can harden into belief once it is repeated enough times. The conversation around Big Meech's brother softened slightly, though suspicion still lingered. Some creators admitted that the language used earlier may have gone too far. Others doubled down, insisting that warning signs should never be ignored. Emotions ran high as audiences debated accountability versus restraint. The family was left divided in public opinion even as calls for fairness grew louder. 50 Cent's role in the narrative was reassessed by some analysts. They pointed out that reactions are often interpreted through existing expectations. Because of his history, people assumed intent where there might have been none. Fans are shocked by how reputation alone can shape interpretation. The idea that influence operates even in silence became a recurring theme in calmer discussions. A few voices highlighted the human cost of prolonged speculation. They reminded viewers that behind every headline are real people absorbing the impact of rumors. Emotions ran high when these reminders surfaced, briefly slowing the pace of sensational commentary. For a moment, empathy challenged entertainment value. The documentary itself resurfaced in discussion, though in a different light. Rather than being labeled dangerous, it was described as misunderstood. Some viewers revisited it with fresh eyes, separating content from the noise surrounding it. Fans are shocked by how different the experience felt without the weight of speculation. This shift suggested that the chaos may have been more about reaction culture than the film itself. Still, unresolved questions remained. Why was the reaction so explosive? Why did silence allow fear to grow? Commentators suggested that the lack of clear communication created a vacuum filled by assumption. Emotions ran high as viewers debated whether anyone involved should have addressed the rumors earlier. The phrase "headed to jail" began to lose its grip as time passed without confirmation. Some creators quietly removed it from their language, while others acknowledged it was always speculative. Fans are shocked by how quickly dramatic claims fade when nothing follows them, yet the impact of those words lingered in memory. Family unity became a topic of renewed interest. Commentators speculated that internal conversations were happening away from the public eye. Some believed this privacy was necessary to protect relationships. Others argued that transparency could have prevented misunderstanding. The family was left divided in how audiences judged their silence. Thus, the cycle slowed, reflection replaced urgency. Viewers began questioning their own role in amplifying unverified claims. Emotions ran high as some admitted they were drawn in by drama rather than substance. This self-awareness marked a subtle turning point in the narrative. In the end, the situation settled into uncertainty rather than conclusion. No official outcomes emerged. No dramatic confirmations arrived. What remained was a lesson about how quickly stories can escalate in the digital age. Fans are shocked by how easily entertainment commentary can blur into perceived reality. The documentary no longer felt dangerous, but the reaction to it did. The power of interpretation, influence, and repetition proved stronger than any single statement. The family was left divided in public perception, not by actions, but by assumptions layered over time. As attention drifted elsewhere, the story stood as an example of modern media frenzy. Emotions ran high one last time as viewers reflected on how the narrative unfolded. What began as commentary became chaos, and what ended was not a verdict, but a reminder that sometimes the loudest stories are built entirely from echoes. Now, it is your turn to decide what all of this really means. You have heard the reactions, the speculation, and the waves of commentary that turned one documentary into a full-blown media storm. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided in public opinion. But nothing has been officially confirmed. That is what makes this story so powerful and so unsettling at the same time. You have seen how quickly narratives can form when reactions outweigh facts. You have watched how silence can be interpreted 100 different ways, and how influence alone can shape perception without a single clear statement. The question now is not what happened, but what you believe is really going on behind the scenes. Is this just another example of internet exaggeration, or do you think the reactions reveal deeper tensions that were always there? If stories like this make you think twice about how media drama is created, you are not alone. This is where your voice matters. Drop a comment and tell everyone how you see it. Do you think the documentary was misunderstood, or do you believe it stirred up something that should have stayed buried? Do reactions from powerful figures really carry this much weight? Or is the internet giving them more power than they deserve? If you want to stay ahead of stories like this, make sure you like this video so more people can join the conversation. Subscribe to the channel if you want more deep dives into the drama, the reactions, and the hidden layers behind viral headlines. And most importantly, keep the discussion going in the comments, because your opinion could be the one that changes how this story is remembered.